is up, everybody? Welcome to Garage Stories. So in today's video I'm going to show you how we got this shop into a more functioning, more useful condition, and how we got the yard cleaned up a little bit as well. So this video is going to be a little different than some because really there's a lot of stories that all fit together to make the outcome, which is a more usable, comfortable shop. The first thing that happened was earlier this year we bought a lift. Then we got some cabinets, took out the carpet, cleaned up in here, rearranged, organized. We had to fix the backhoe so we can move mowers. Got the 425 running, John Deere 425 all-wheel steer. Put some lights in here. And I can't remember if there's anything else we did. Oh, we parted out a lawnmower that was sitting in here. So we got some stuff cleaned out of here. So let's jump right into it. First of all, getting the lift. That was a while ago now. So today I'm doing something that I try to be real careful about, you know. I'm spending more money again. I'm heading out to pick up a pallet stacker, but I'm planning to use it as a lift in the shop. So let's go see what this looks like. It's a one owner lift. So he had messaged me and said $350 isn't bad for something that cost $3,500 30 years ago. So I was like, okay, yeah, you know. And then I was talking to him and found out that he actually bought it 30 years ago for $3,500. So he wasn't just pulling a number out or looking it up or anything like that. So it's 1,500 pound capacity. I hope that'll be enough for what I'm doing right now. Let's get on home and show you this thing firsthand. So there it is in all its glory. Very simple machine, just a giant electric motor driving a hydraulic pump. I believe that's the way it is. Yeah, there's the leads on there. And this here is the on-off switch, basically. Super duper simple. It's a manually operated as far as you roll it around by hand. But here's the size of the platform. It's probably 24 by 24 or 30 by 30. It's all metal under the carpet. And it'll come up till the backstop is up here, so it'll lift up to about this high. If you could extend it out this way to pick up a whole mower and like drive it on, straddle it or something, or you could try to make a platform this direction. Wow, that's pretty cool. Let me down! And then after we got the lift, we picked up these cabinets from a friend, and they sat in the shop over here for quite a while, and then eventually, after we got the carpet removed, they moved over here. Getting the carpet out was kind of fun. It made a huge difference in how the shop looked. Alright, so I've got a lot of stuff moved out of here. Rolling things like the carts and jacks I rolled out of there in the seat. Of course, here's the lift. I think the carpet's just about free. It just barely goes under the front wheels there. But I think over here, oh, this window may be on it. Let's go ahead and start pulling it up with a hoe. Woohoo! Carpet is out! Here we are, no carpet. Let's see if we can get those windows out of here. And I need to start working on moving this table over there. Actually, I should probably sweep the floor first. Let's sweep the floor. Quite a bit of dirt. All right, that's pretty good. Now let's see if we can move this table over. Pretty good. Now the lift can go right down there. Yeah, and this is going to be my major work area. These countertops will go over there, and the lift will go right in the middle. Just need to extend the lift like I was talking about, so I can just pull a mower on there, come around in here, pull it on, and then I'll have my workstation right there. This is a lot more like a shop. This is like totally different from what we had in here. I'm really liking this. Still work to be done though. Then fixing the backhoe, that was a pain. Happy 4th of July everyone. It is July 4th, Monday. I hope to wrap up some cleanup in the shop and get the backhoe running. Just see if we can figure out why this thing is overheating. So basically, when I turn the key on, my I think this is my positive wire here. It's really hot. As you can see, it's kind of fried already. It's kind of melted back in there. Signs of melting right here. And then where it goes into the connector plug down here is starting to get a little overheated down there. I saw some, yeah, I can feel it's a little melted-ish down there. Something is shorting out apparently. I don't know if it's my ignition switch or what, so I probably need to do some point-to-point resistance checks and see if we're shorting to ground somewhere. I checked all the wiring. I'm not seeing any obvious shorts unless my solenoid is shorted out inside somewhere, which I guess could be, or if there is some issue inside the engine cover. Because here's my wire loom. I mean, it's got that connector right there, which is a 1 to 2, and then I follow these wires and they pretty much just come straight up through here. They look pretty good. They were all inside a protective cover. This is what I did next. I realized that this plug here looks pretty much like the kind of plug that would fit on the back of this ignition switch. So I went to my parts yard, found another ignition switch like that. Here we go, with a 5-pin plug with a spare off to the side. Not a spare, I think it's the accessory. And so I just did a very simple test. I'll show you what happens here. I was like, okay, let's try to plug this in here and see what happens. See if I can start it from here, because we should have all the necessary components because we got power coming in and everything, and maybe I can just run it off an ignition down here. As soon as I touch this in there, it cranks and fires. That was very unexpected to me. So the ignition switch is in the off position, and just touching it to the connector gives it all the conditions it needs to run. Okay, so here's where I'm at. So I realized that plugging an ignition switch directly into the harness down here is a different scenario, because the wires get rearranged between here and up here. So that's why when I plug the switch directly in down there, it would crank. So this harness was not meant for that type of ignition switch to be plugged directly into it. Not worried about that. Then I came up here and I started trying to do process of elimination and start removing ground wires. So I disconnected my fuel shaft solenoid. Over here, this ground wire, in case somehow it's showing the ground, I disconnected it at the carburetor. I already had my coil or magneto, whatever, unplugged over there. What is that? Voltage regulator. None of those did anything, so then I thought, okay, I'll disconnect my hour meter. And then it worked. I disconnected my hour meter and my positive was not getting too hot. So that told me in my mind that my hour meter was shorted out somehow. So I reversed the wires because I thought, well, maybe I plugged these in backwards. It ran fine, but the hour meter did not count. So then I plugged it back in the original way and now it's not smoking. I think my hour meter may be on the blink, but plugging and unplugging it essentially fixed my issue, which is incredibly simple and somewhat mind-boggling. Let's turn the key on and see what happens, because now I do have my voltage ground attached over there. Voltage regulator ground, so let's see if it fries anything up. Oh yeah, it's getting hot again. Okay, so let's disconnect my hour meter. That's interesting. So reconnecting my voltage ground. One of my voltage regulators is bad. This is a little baffling. All right, so I've been thinking and looking at the electrical system, watched a couple of videos for this backhoe. I got to where the only wires I had plugged into the ignition was this main wire here and this violet wire. So this wire goes down to my terminal on my solenoid there. This other wire, the violet one, which is coming out of here, goes down into there and it turns into a green wire and I think a white wire. But the green wire looks like it comes out over here, my voltage regulator. If I check between my two white wires, which are coming off my charging system, there's no resistance between either of the white wires, and there's no resistance between the white wires and the ground. And there's no resistance between this green wire and ground either. That means when the backhoe is in a run state, it's shorted out somewhere. I think my charging system might be shorted out. But when I have the voltage regulator unplugged and start plugging those other wires back in up there, nothing overheats. I think I need to pull that out and check my continuity. I kind of checked, but it's really hard to get in there and I wasn't getting good readings. I think the backhoe would run the way it is, it just would not charge the battery. Okay, so I checked another engine and it's definitely a different scenario, which leads me to believe that my voltage regulator is fine, because when I unplugged the other engine from its voltage regulator, it behaved the same as this one. Two of these are connected and one of them is not. I then checked the wires going into the voltage regulator, and the two outside ones are connected to each other, but not to the middle one. The middle one is connected to the ground. So that means when it's plugged in, everything will kind of show no resistance because the two outside ones are connected to each other, but on here, they're connected to the middle. So when the engine is off, that's the way it's functioning. Everything is shorted out, or there's no resistance, according to my quick diagnosis. On the backhoe, with the voltage regulator unplugged, those wires are already shorted across all of them. So it's definitely different, and that leads me to think that my charging system, which is usually under the flywheel, is shorted out somewhere. It could be a wire that's melted through, something got caught in the flywheel and bent or pushed around, I don't know. The confusing thing to me is that those wires are all shorted out before they come to the voltage regulator on the backhoe with the engine in an off state. My question is, if they're already shorted to each other and to ground, how come when I plug in the voltage regulator, it makes a difference as to that one wire overheating? Because when the voltage regulator is unplugged in a run state in the ignition system, the wire does not overheat. But then when I plug it into my voltage regulator, it does overheat, but they're already shorted together. So what could the voltage regulator be doing to change that? I'm not quite sure. But I think for right now, I can run the engine and discharge my battery slowly as it's running. It won't recharge without this. So I think that may be the short-term solution, because trying to fix the ignition system, I'm gonna have to pull stuff apart. I'm sorry, not the ignition, the charging system. I'm gonna have to pull stuff apart And it could be something simple and easy, but I already pulled the cover off and I didn't see something simple and easy, which means there's a possibility I may have to pull the engine out of the backhoe and pull the flywheel off and get at the charging system underneath there. And I don't really want to do that right now. I may just run it without the voltage regulator plugged in, obviously. Voltage regulator is right here. And if it works, great. In theory, I could damage my voltage regulator, I guess. No, not in theory, because it's sitting right here. I guess maybe I could damage my charging system, but if it's already damaged, let's go test that theory and see if the backhoe will start and run with the voltage regulator unplugged and not overheat the wiring. Key on. Wiring is not overheating yet. Let's see if she will start up. Let's check the wiring again. It may not have been my strength to do electrical things like that, but it's all logical, and if you spend enough time, you can usually figure that stuff out. But without the backhoe, it is a pain to move mowers around here. It's really difficult because they're heavy. I'm kind of not the biggest guy out there, so it really helps to have the backhoe. See if I can't get this thing fired up and to move under its own power. That would be way easier. I got some gas, a battery, jumper cables, bicycle pump to pump up the back tire. Got the key in there, got a rag to check the oil. Let's just see how this goes. That started with no issue. Let's try this power steering. But it looks like this thing doesn't charge its battery unless it's at a higher throttle. I do think I hear a lot of valve noise in there, but I don't think I hear a knock. So I think it's just valve train. Valves need to be adjusted, not a crankshaft or anything like that. Yeah, it needs to be going full throttle to stay running. Hey, we got it moved. Does anybody know, because I'm sure someone does, what this lever here does? I know this is my deck up and down, but this lever, I have no idea what that is. So if someone could tell me that, I'd appreciate it. And getting these lights made a huge difference. We bought a few more lights to put in here. Got these from Harbor Freight, and I think we came out to, with tax, just over $100 for 4 of them. So anyway, let's see if we can't get these opened up and start figuring out the placement in here. These are linkable. That one was not, so that one would go at the end of my chain. Bright. So I need to get the one more there, probably one more towards that side, one more over here, so that'd be 4 lights. The 5th one will probably be out here somewhere. I really like that. So the positioning is due to the cord length. That's why they are where they are. Yeah, it does bug me a little bit that that light over there is at an angle. I could try to run them like this, but then I wouldn't have as much lighting over my new workbench, and also I could only go one direction from the door. I guess I could use my splitter and have the lights go in both directions from the door, but this was the way I decided to go for now, and wow, that's nice. That really brightened up the shop a lot, so I can see a lot better. Nighttime, evening time, early in the morning, whenever it's dark out, it's not dark in here. I need to get the transmission and gas tank out of this mower. Let's see if we can figure out a way to get it on the lift just for fun and see if that helps out. This may not be balanced well enough to go on the lift because there's no engine in the front, so this end is going to be rather heavy. All right, first mower on the lift in the shop. Just a little too much weight that way. So what do we have going on in here? So we got those 2 bolts there, those 2 bolts there. What's under in here? A giant mud dauber nest way back in there. Probably the typical bolts on the other side. Yeah, okay. Alright, I think I'm going to call it a night. I've got 2 bolts in there that it'd be really nice to have my impact for, and my impact is in the house and it's kind of late and it's about time to be done anyway, so I don't really want to be running and grabbing my impact. Anyway, that transmission is almost out of there, I'm pretty sure, but it's kind of hooked on by this back plate here. It kind of comes down underneath the transmission, so the transmission kind of needs to go out forward. So yeah, I took off these 2 bolts under there first, which has a little support in there, but it's on a little lip, right, that lip right there. So it wouldn't work because it couldn't come down off the lip, and the transmission needs to go forward to come out. So unless I take off the back plates, but I'm going this route right now, so we'll see how that goes. There's also this bracket right here that you can just take off entirely. So I took those 2 bolts off, but the 2 on the other side are a little harder to get out. So I'll probably set this thing back down, and next time I'll be really close to getting that transmission out. The transmission and gas tank out of here. Gas tank has some weathering on there, but it seems to be holding gas just fine. Still a little pliable. So somebody else will probably want to buy that. And I think the rest of it's going to the boneyard. All right, it's early morning before work. Let's see if I can get the transmission and gas tank pulled out of this thing in 1 hour. So let's do it. heavy. Whew. Let's drag this thing out of the way. Let's get the gas tank out. Well, that was fun. So you can see I just spilled gas all over the floor. I got the gas tank out. I couldn't get it off because the gas cap was in the way. I couldn't pull that fender off. So I put it back upright, took the cap off, pulled the fender off, and in doing so, tilted the gas tank over and dumped a bunch of gas out. So, oh well. Since there's gas sitting in the tank, helps me know that the tank's not leaking. Anyway, we succeeded at our mission in getting the gas tank and transmission out. The lift makes it really easy, but I need to be really careful about that lift. More things falling off the lift or changing positions and waiting to come off. Thankfully, this mower without the transmission and engine is not really heavy, so I mean, yeah, I probably could get hurt, but it's not like a huge weight is gonna come crashing on me. I knew that, but at the same time, I can continue to learn and get a little better and try to develop safe practices, because I don't want to get used to doing things that are borderline safe and then risk more and more and more until something bad happens. That's not the direction I want to go. All right, so this morning I took that old mower out of here, threw it in the scrap pile. Here's the gas tank, here's the transmission, and the shop is looking really good. I need to get that out of here. To get this mowed, move some of these things. Let's get to it. We got stuff to move. Got to use the backhoe, got to move stuff so we can get the backhoe in the right spot and get the shop ready for new projects. Let's get this Cub Cadet out of the shop. I do want to fix it at some point, but I've got other projects I'm more interested in working on that I think are also worth a little more. So like I said, my plan is to not keep mowers in here anymore. I'd like to only have probably 2 mowers in here, max 3 if there's like a nice one I need to store in here overnight and stuff like that. I want to keep it open so that I can work on stuff easily, and if I'm not working on it, get it back outside. I'm gonna keep this on the back burner where it's been, only not sitting in the shop. Let's see if we can't get some stuff cleaned off of it and roll it out. Like this new format, this layout in here, so we can bring mowers in the door, flip them around over here to work on them. I still have room to park stuff over here in front of the door if I need to. So we are ready to rock and roll. We've got some cool projects coming up. Obviously, you can see this really cool looking four-wheeler behind me here, which I'm super excited about getting up and running. In conclusion, I'm really happy with how things turned out. I know there's a lot more that I could do to this shop. One thing at a time. Like this table over here is still super messy, but it's a lot more enjoyable to work out here now, having things a little bit more organized, my tool chest over here. So we got a few projects coming up, which I'm pretty excited about. I know I keep mentioning that, but the truth is there's always more projects coming up. There's a lot of things. I'm even thinking about doing more automotive style content because my interests, it turns out, are a lot more than just lawnmowers. So I like four-wheelers, motorcycles, vehicles, SUVs, trucks, pickups. That's the same thing twice. Heavy equipment. Hopefully we'll have more of that stuff coming up, but in the immediate future, I know we're going to be working on the Banshee, and that should be an interesting video. It should be pretty fun, as long as I don't hurt myself. And we've got a lot of lawnmowers that are close to being ready to sell. I kind of want to wait till they sell to make a video. So we'll see how that goes. So it's a lot of stuff that's kind of hanging out there, projects that are not quite done. That's normal. So thank you guys for watching Garage Story. And if you enjoyed this video or any of the content, feel free to let me know what you liked, didn't like. And as always, if you'd like to, feel free to hit that like and subscribe button. It's 2 different buttons, I know. That helps the channel, it helps it grow, and that helps me be able to make more videos. So until next time, keep on working.